picking spinach out of my teeth. This is Free Association on Sportsnet.ca. I'm JD Bunkis. I just ate a salad. That makes me better than you, who don't eat a salad for lunch. No big deal. Pretty healthy guy. Donnovan Bennett across from me, also healthy guy. Don't know what he eats, but know he exercises. The podcast with two super healthy guys. The healthiest guys in the building, some would say. Do you agree?
No, I don't.
Who do you think? I'm not carrying my half of the bill here?
I'm not close to one of the healthiest. But people work out on their lunch break. I don't do that. I've never worked out in this building. Ben Nicholson-Smith could run a 20K right now.
He's too skinny. He can't afford to lose any more weight. He's like falls through a sewer grate thin.
I think that's why he is in good shape, is because he runs.
Okay.
Danielle Michaud is much more fit than I am.
Yeah.
I'm not close.
Yeah. Danielle Michaud fell off a bicycle recently, though. So how good of an athlete can you be when you're falling off a bicycle?
I have not competed in the Tour de France. I can't speak on the matter.
What's your workout routine been like since you had the kid? Has it changed?
It's non-existent.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
Because you still look like you're in great shape.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't. There is no workout routine. It is count wake windows. Do you know what those are?
You count times you're actually getting to sleep?
No.
I don't know.
You count the hours your child is awake throughout the day, because they can only be awake for so long, and then they just go crazy. So you kind of time it out, make sure they get their naps on point, but they can't sleep too much, because then they won't sleep at nighttime. Then you'll be up in the middle of the night.
Is your kid a
This
good
is
sleeper?
my life. He's an outstanding sleeper.
Wow, congratulations.
He's the Pascal Siakam of sleep.
Wow.
Just
That's
keeps taking,
most improved? So he sucked at the beginning and now he's
keeps
amazing?
taking leaps, and we think he's hit a level, and he just goes to another level.
I'm so happy for you. Honestly, that means a lot, because sleep is so important, and we're finding out sleep is more important than we even realized. Do you know who Matt Walker is? Sleep scientist?
Oh, I mean, there's...
Yeah,
no,
sorry.
Matt Walker works for Canada Basketball. But
okay.
No, I don't know the sleep scientist.
Anyways, I've listened to this dude. I'm obsessed with him now. He's got a book on sleep. He's done some podcast series on sleep. And essentially, it's so valuable to us that he thinks there should be Surgeon General warnings for people who do shift work, because it increases your risk of just disease and heart disease all over the planet. Like, you just even look at daylight savings time and the amount of heart attacks that go through the roof when we lose that extra hour of sleep. It's wild. Like, some of these figures are absolutely insane. So I'm glad to hear that you're sleeping well. And I double down on the statement that this is the healthiest show, thanks to Donnovan Bennett getting his sleep. Also, in a great state of health, the Toronto Raptors.
Wondering where you're going with that.
I shouldn't say great state of health in the sense of Kyle Lowry still remains injured, if you're listening to this. OG Anunoby's right eye is now the thing that is keeping me up at night. Like, I lose sleep. I want OG Anunoby to wear glasses or goggles or something along those lines. And Serge Ibaka remains injured. But great state of health in terms of where we thought this franchise was going to be just a couple of weeks ago. Everyone has... Well, let me just ask you that. Has there been one person or player that is getting regular rotation minutes right now that is disappointing you in a way, or is playing below your expectation level?
Marc Gasol.
Really?
Yeah. When are we going to have the Marc Gasol talk? When are we going to have the intervention as Raptors fans about Marc Gasol?
But what's the intervention? That's
I don't know. How about you take the wide open shots that you get, all 6 of them a game, where you like act like you fumbled the ball so you don't have to take that open three, and I'm covered, can't take it. Even his like beautiful with English skip pass to Fred VanVleet for a corner three at the end of a beautiful possession. It all came from the fact that he didn't want to shoot the ball, and then he put it on the floor, and he's like, oh my goodness, I'm not a put it on the floor player. What do I do now? Thank you, Fred, for cutting to the corner as your defender was asleep and giving me an outlet. Marc Gasol is great. His position defensively is outstanding. He's a valuable part of this team. How do I know? Because he leads them in plus minus.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I can't believe you're disappointed in him.
But the offense bogs down when he doesn't shoot the ball. It impacts everybody else. So if there's someone who has disappointed, he has in that aspect.
So I think he still needs to be more willing with his offense. You're right. I think we've talked about this before, that his basketball brain is so high level that he doesn't like taking some of those shots because he thinks that the efficiency is just not there and he doesn't want to do it. But
that's not true.
Yeah.
Because if this was Marc Gasol...
You're a real pro going through that. I couldn't. I had to break it up. It was great. It was your microphone. You just kept rolling through that.
Well,
I'm interrupting you.
I mean, Amo produces the pod. Yeah. He can come in and change the microphone angle if he needs to.
Do you think he's just looking for his moment? He's got this mustache going.
No, because
got his nice
given
sweater.
him the option
he wants to get a little camera
to
time.
Be on camera, and he's refuted it. Marc Gasol in his prime in Memphis was just as smart, but would have taken those shots because he was a confident player. He is not as confident, but the point is that when he doesn't take that shot and whoever, Chris Boucher, Pascal Siakam, gets a three in the key because they're trying to box out for the inevitable rebound if he misses, that's technically a turnover on them, but it's actually his fault. And so when he continues to not take that shot and people are scouting the fact that he doesn't, and they're hanging in the lane and cutters can't get through and there aren't available options for pass, the offense looks like it's not really moving. That's his fault. So even he's smart, yes, but he's smart enough to know that, forget about your averages. Even if you miss, especially on this team where if you are in the game with Rondae, a miss is basically a pass to him. He's crashing the board so hard. For the flow of the offense, please let it fly.
So,
and here's my last thing before I let you respond. Who on this team is going to look at him and be like, why'd you take that shot? Is he playing with James Harden? Is he playing with Kevin Durant? Is he playing with someone whose usage is so high and is so efficient as a scorer that they're like, that wasn't a good idea. You're open for a reason. Even if you're open, it's better for me to take a contested shot. That's not true. He's not Draymond Green, where even if you're open, maybe you should make the extra pass. On this team, if you're open, you should shoot.
So he does play with OG Anunoby, who's shooting over 50% from three this season. So give it up to OG. I actually think that's what's helping making all this work. I'll say this. I'm disappointed in Marc Gasol's low post game now because it's completely evaporated.'s got no more lift. He's not able to score down low anymore. Like you saw the game against Dallas with Kristaps Porzingis. He's backing him down. He's right there at the rim, and he's not able to really do anything with it. That part of Marc Gasol's game is gone. He's no longer a scorer on the block. But he's shooting 40% from three, and he's shooting 3 threes a game. And I don't know how many more I want from Marc Gasol. Like, do we want 4 threes a game from Gasol? Do we want 5 threes a game from Gasol? Like, he's been hesitant. I agree. There are definitely times where he's going to frustrate you and make that extra pass when really he should just shoot it, especially when he puts a player in a more compromising position to take a late in the clock shot. But ultimately, I haven't been disappointed in him as a whole because he's still playing that defense that you mentioned. He's still one of the team's best rebounders. He's consistent every single night. And I think part of the reason that these guys have been so successful is that he's not someone who needs the ball in his hands, and he is still a good facilitator who does find guys when they make a good cut, who does find guys when they get open on a play. So Gasol, to me, has been great. And the larger point is, even you only brought up one guy. So even if you are disappointed in someone, it's not like the list is very long right now, which is kind of surprising considering how deep the Raptors have gone into the bench. Like, I would have thought having this many Terrence Davis minutes, having this many Chris Boucher minutes, this many Norm Powell minutes, and this much opportunity for him offensively, this much Fred, this much Siakam, that we would have started to see things where I said, like, not really liking the way this team is trending. You would agree that overall this has been a terrific stretch without Lowry and Serge, and that maybe you didn't expect it to be this way, or did you? Did you think they were capable of this?
Well, we were calling for those depth players to get more minutes from the beginning of the year. So
you wanted bench mob right away.
Yes, and so as much as we are going to credit Nick Nurse for utilizing his bench in a great way, we also say, well, why didn't you play them earlier? He was forced into playing them because of the injuries on the road all at the same time. It's almost like, okay, well, if the Patriots were so smart and they knew Tom Brady was going to be the greatest quarterback of all time, they wouldn't have waited to the 6th round. They would have picked him in the 1st round.
They took Hayden Hurst before they took Lamar Jackson. Never forget.
So there is some of that. listen, going on the toughest road trip you're going to have this year, both LA super teams on the West Coast, you're out there 5 games, 9 days away from home. Toughest road trip for me that they're going to have this year. You only have to play those teams out there once. To come back 3-2, if this team was healthy, that would have been a win. Never mind the injuries that they had and the fact that the LA games were on back-to-backs. So you're playing with house money at this point. You're certainly outside of Boston. Who can feel better about the start to their season in the Eastern Conference? I don't think anybody can.
Yeah, the Pacers probably feel pretty good, considering they don't have Oladipo and it's looked this well. But the Raptors have been one of the best stories of the season so far. And that's like, I know we're a Toronto Raptors podcast primarily, and so some of you are listening to this and saying you're homers, you're a fan of a different team. But no, I think what you said is correct. And this brings me to a question I've been grappling with. And I listened to a podcast. It's the Ringers NFL show, and they have a segment called Take Shop. And essentially they have some takes that are not fully formed yet, some ideas that are not all the way there. And I kind of have one of those that I'm going back and forth on, which is this. I think the Raptors have more of a chance to win an NBA championship this year than I originally believed going into the season. Do you think that's fair?
I mean, I thought they had 0 chance.
Yeah, same. So, and now,
yes.
I said today I think they have a 12% chance of making the NBA final.
Okay.
That's, again, percentages, my percentages mean nothing. People could feel differently. People could feel I'm a homer. I think that they have a 12% chance. There's at least a roadmap I could see to them getting to a finals. I could see Milwaukee and the Sixers having to face each other. The Raptors beat the Celtics. They get a tired Sixers team or a Milwaukee team without a ton of depth, and the Raptors get there. I think the Raptors are better with Kyle Lowry. If Kyle Lowry's on this team, especially with no point guards, and with an offense that sometimes sticks and doesn't have creators, it's no doubt in my mind he makes this team better. He elevates the ceiling of the team. I also believe that small sample sizes can cause you to make bad decisions in sports. But that's why, is there not a growing case, based on what we've seen from Fred VanVleet, who's up for a contract at the end of the season, by the way, who you have to decide is going to be a starting point guard for your team pretty shortly here?
I mean, not necessarily.
What do you mean?
I mean, he doesn't have to be a starting point guard. He could sign and continue to be a backup, or a guy who swings from starting to not starting.
He could, but he's going to have suitors this offseason, and he's going to be able to get a lot of money this offseason. And he's been on record saying he wants to be a starter. I've said it before on this podcast, but he was on Good Show, the radio show that I host on Sportsnet 590, and said, no offense to Jamal Crawford, that's not what I got in this league to be. I got in this league to be a starter. And I think that that's a real ambition of his that he wants to pursue. And if it isn't available here, I do wonder. Anyway, your point is well taken. It is a good one. They could retain him without forcing them to make him a starter. Either way, they have to decide on how important of a player he's going to be for this franchise moving forward. They have to see what they have in OG Anunoby. Things have gone so well without Kyle Lowry, in part because guys have stepped up. We're seeing more of Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. We're seeing more of Matt Thomas. We're seeing more of Chris Boucher. But really, the headline is Siakam is still playing well despite some inefficiencies. Fred VanVleet continues to just overwhelm me with how great of an NBA player he is, despite what I thought of him when he first came into the league. And OG Anunoby has clearly taken a step from where he was a year ago and is capitalizing on some added minutes. I mentioned it before. OG Anunoby I know he just came off the 24-point game in only 3 quarters against the Charlotte Hornets, but dude's shooting 50% from 3 this year. And it doesn't always look the prettiest, but he's clearly more comfortable getting to the basket. He's more comfortable shooting off the dribble, and he's not just a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter anymore. He'll do that as well. Is there a growing case for Masai Ujiri and the Toronto Raptors to consider moving Kyle Lowry or be more willing to move Kyle Lowry in order to take more of a look at what you have in those 3 and your bench for the evaluation of where this future is going? Or is that 12% that I mentioned so compelling that you need to keep Kyle at all costs to ensure that you have as best a chance as possible to make it to an NBA Finals this year?
I mean, it depends on what you're getting back for Kyle Lowry. If you're giving me a first round pick, sure.
So, but any first round pick would make you. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, obviously, all first round picks are not created
Miami.
equal.
That's the rumored landing spot for Kyle if there ever was one. The Miami Heat with their 20th overall pick want to give it to you for Kyle.
Yeah, Miami has started very well, so that's a bit tougher.
Yeah,
I think Fred VanVleet has proven that he can start in the NBA. Let's take the game against Charlotte out of the equation because it was a blowout. He didn't play a lot of minutes, but in the first 4 games, he replaced Kyle in the lineup. He averaged 22.8 points, 8 assists, 2 steals. That's a pretty.
And he looks comfy doing it.
Certainly does. It's a pretty good start. I'm willing to say, it's a small sample size. Sure, but he's been starting since the beginning of the year with Kyle. So he's shown that he can play 30 to 40 minutes a night, that he can physically withstand that type of basketball. And so there doesn't need to be a scenario where, and he's joked about, load management is not something he needs at his size. Because one thing you worry about is the stature. On the 5-game road trip, the minutes he logged, 36, 38, 45, 40, 38. So any thought that, this guy's going to cap out at 20 minutes a night, just be energy off the bench, I think he's debunked that myth. Here's the issue, though. If I'm assigned on Bobby Webster and I'm having early conversations with Fred's representatives and he's saying, hey, man, listen, if not you, somebody else, there's going to be some team that wants him as a starter. And, the baseline for a starting point guard starts at this number. So if you want him to come back, it has to be in a role where he is the starting point guard moving forward. I kind of say, well, this is like real estate. How much property is available? How many spots are there where Fred VanVleet goes in and you're getting rid of who you have now, or you're keeping them, but he is starting in front of them? And furthermore, when we look at the draft, 2 of the top 3 players taken are going to be point guards. Cole Anthony, LaMelo Ball, in some order with James Wiseman. Those are going to be the top players taken in the draft, assuming they all come out. So you're going to have a couple more Ja Morant level players who from the very beginning are great. I'm just looking at literally the real estate and saying, well, Fred, how many suitors do you have? Am I betting against myself? And so do I have to make this declaration of Fred VanVleet is my point guard for the future, or Kyle Lowry is my point guard for the future? Can I not just have them both?
Play both. No, you can play both. I don't think that it's so much that's not the main area of, I guess, my argument is not so much that he's going to have to pick and choose, because I think the Raptors offer just
But
right.
But why would you trade Kyle if you didn't have to pick and choose? Right?
So,
because at the very least, he's a great insurance policy.
Yeah. No. Why I think you're trading Kyle. And I'm not even saying, again, this is a take shop. I know this is kind of boring sports discussion from the stance of I don't have a hard take. You're not getting a Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman first take from me. The Raptors have to trade Kyle Lowry.
What?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, I know.
Why?
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I just think that
the gall on you.
Yeah, there we go.
The nerve.
Yeah, it takes you a second to get there, but I knew you could. I think that internally they have to have a conversation, not so much about the future of their team or making them choose between Lowry and Fred. I'm saying that's one element of it. The real element is the opportunities that Kyle takes away from other people. He makes others better. There's no doubt about it. I've said it before. Kyle Lowry can give you what you need. You need some scoring tonight, Kyle Lowry give it to you. You need some defense. You need a guy to take some charges. You need some rebounding. You need some shooting. You need him to be the assist guy when Kawhi Leonard steps in. He's already proven he can do that for you. But when Kyle Lowry is on your team, especially this team without Kawhi Leonard, I still feel like it's Kyle Lowry's team. And at some point, you need to transition out of that. And when do you decide to transition out of that? I think it was pretty clear that there was this marker of if the Raptors are struggling, they should move Kyle Lowry at the deadline and get some assets back if they're not a contender. Now, they are a contender, but they also were finding out more information about OG Anunoby, who took 13 shots in 3 quarters. Does OG Anunoby get 13 shots in 3 quarters when Kyle's out there? Does OG Anunoby get 13 shots in 3 quarters with Serge Ibaka as well?
I mean, we've had long stretches where Kyle didn't take shots. So I think he will make the right
it's a conversation.
Play. But when you say it's Kyle Lowry's team, in what sense?
I think Kyle Lowry is still the head of the snake of this Raptors basketball team. Siakam has taken the role of their best player because he can do so much for you, and the ceiling is still so high on him. But yeah, man, if I look at the personality of this team, who the leader of this team is, who should be getting the last shot in a big game still, who is still going to take over ball games and who still pulls them up by the collar like in the Milwaukee game where they trailed.
You think if everyone's healthy, Kyle Lowry's taking the last shot?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think he is.
I think Kyle has said as much that Pascal's the best player on the team.
Even so, and he's right. And he's smart. And of course he would say that because he's also a good teammate who has a great history of backing his own guys. I just think that there would be the Raptors have done this really great job of democratizing their offense, right? You and I have talked about this before. It's not really an ego group. Kyle Lowry doesn't step back in. He's not James Harden, where he commands the ball a certain amount of times. I just feel as though when you have Kyle Lowry, you're not really looking at your future because Kyle Lowry is not going to be involved in that. And I'm sorry, Kyle Lowry will not be a Toronto Raptor 2 seasons from now. It's really hard to see because the salary machinations of things, the way that the Raptors would have to match it, or have to come close to what his figure is right now, make it extremely difficult.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that's true.
Okay.
I mean, if Kyle Lowry wants to be here, he could stay here on a discount.
I'm pretty sure, though.
I think part of the money he's getting right now is saying, hey, take it now because we can't give it to you later.
You can only drop off your salary with your current team by a certain amount. Like, there are protections for guys like that. So Lowry would have to take, like, significantly less. Or he couldn't take as significantly less as possible. Like, he couldn't just be like, I'll take a veteran minimum deal. There's clauses in the CBA that prevent him from doing that. So
I'm not saying he's going to be a minimum player.
No, I know.
But Dirk took discounts year in and year in and year in, and probably.
But that's the thing is he was already taking them.
What's that?
He was already taking them.
No, but since he was an MVP and he was at the top of the league in terms of salary, he would come back and take discounts. And listen, there's probably money that's being transferred to a Cayman Islands account to take care of him. But the point is, he understood what was happening. The main premise that I'm not sure I understand is that if Kyle Lowry's here, it's his team, and what that means. The Warriors team that won back-to-back after they won 73 wins and blew a 3-1 lead. Whose team was that?
Steph's.
But Kevin Durant took the big shots.
Yeah.
And Draymond Green was the vocal leader.
And it's why KD left, is because he knew it was Steph Curry's team and it would always be Steph Curry's team.
But my point is that they won.
Yeah.
So Steph was probably beloved the most in Oakland, and Draymond is the one who screamed in timeouts, and Kevin Durant normally had the matchup and took the big shots. But ultimately they won because at the end of the day, like, that's something that we talk about.
I know.
Does it really matter? The Celtics
But they were guaranteed to win. Like, they were next near guaranteed to win. If they're healthy, the Warriors should beat anybody. If they lose, it's a failure. The difference between them and the Raptors is that the Raptors are playing on a much smaller percentile chance of winning. This is the case I'm trying to make. And I'm not even trying to make it. I'm just asking the question.
So, but the big three Celtics, whose team was that?
Like, we're going all the way back to Kevin McHale's big three Celtics,
no.
or
Garnett and
Celtics.
Allen and Rondo and Paul Pierce.
That's Garnett's Celtics team, then Pierce, then Ray Allen. There's a clear pecking order.
But Garnett wasn't taking the big shots.
No, but he was still the heart and soul and the lifeblood of that team. So Paul Pierce was the big shot taker.
Can't Kyle Lowry be the heart and soul of the team, but Siakam take the big shots?
He can. Again, this isn't first take. I'm not telling you that's not a possibility. I'm saying that, do you think that they should even bother with the question of it? So it seems like to me that you don't even think there's a reality where you look at what Fred, what Siakam, what OG are doing independently of Kyle Lowry right now and say, you want to see more of that. Like, Kyle Lowry,
I just don't think, I don't see the issue. Like, I don't see.
Well, he touches the ball on every play, essentially. He's taking a lot of shots this year. He is still someone who the offense flows through, who is one of the, he was leading the league in minutes before he went out with an injury. So, like, there's obviously a huge amount of time and possession and usage that goes through Kyle Lowry.
Right, but all those things were true on opening night, and the two best players on the floor were Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam.
But we didn't know on opening night what the Raptors really had. We're finding out more and more and more. We're collecting more data. And if those guys are further ahead in the curve, that's what I'm asking you is, what do you think is better for development? letting guys have everything and letting Fred VanVleet and Siakam and OG be the ones who decide every night, or having a Kyle Lowry and a Serge Ibaka who are going to take some of that weight off, who are going to provide veteran presence, who are going to help you more with winning, but ultimately will take some of the shot share and will take some of that responsibility.
I mean, I think Serge Ibaka is taking minutes from Chris Boucher and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, not Pascal Siakam. Those guys both are playing a lot of minutes. Fred has been in the top 5 in minutes all year. So, I mean, unless he's going to lead the league in minutes, I'm not sure what that's changing. My point is just, I don't see whether it's in voice in the room or shots on the floor or pathway to playing in minutes. I don't see Kyle being a hindrance to those two guys specifically in any way. Now, if you want to say,
I think I agree.
If you want to say the potential of those guys in year 2 or 3 from now is better with a draft pick beside them than Kyle Lowry beside them, okay, I get. But I think the way they've played both with and without him show me that he's not a speed bump to their development. They've developed alongside him. And in fact, last year would have been the year where they really struggled to develop because the usage was through Kawhi Leonard, and that certainly didn't bother Pascal.
Yeah. Listen, I think I agree with you. I've said before that the template for the Raptors in their development, something that has been so important is that they have veteran players who know how to win. It's like why I enjoy watching Marc Gasol still is that he's a winning player. He plays great defense. He helps uphold the standards of what this team is doing. He knows how to make a good pass. He knows how to help out a teammate. Those things matter. They help you be a better basketball player having someone like Marc Gasol on the floor. It's not all just about age. It's not all about just running a bunch of young guys out there, because then maybe there's the possibility of becoming, I know the Phoenix Suns are turning it around, but what they've been, or Sacramento Kings are a better example of that, of just year in, year out, a patchwork veteran here that they sign off out of free agency for too much money, but also ultimately a bunch of young guys. I just think that they have to look at this and at least entertain the possibility that if that first round pick does come for Kyle Lowry at some point this year from a team, that it's not just being moved under the premise of, well, we suck. The Raptors aren't living up to expectations. This team isn't as good as we thought they would be. What are we doing here? It's not even about that first round pick playing with those guys moving forward. It's about having another asset in the bank and then also letting those guys grow as a team and let them just be the new core. Let them be the players. But ultimately right now, I think you're right that when Kyle comes back, that will be another indicator of, hey, what does it look like now? Are these guys not getting enough shots? Are they not getting enough opportunity? And if that's the case, you probably entertain it more. For me right now, I'm with you. You don't move Kyle Lowry. He's not a hindrance. He only helps you, or he helps you more than he hurts you.
So really it's about cost-benefit analysis. And if you're the Raptors, you're looking at these guys like assets, their stocks and bonds. You're trying to diversify your portfolio. If we're going to use, for argument's sake, your percentage of the Raptors having a 12% chance to win or the champ or
make it to the finals.
Make it to the finals, and let's say it's a 50-50 proposition, so let's give them a 6% chance to win the finals. And you have this potential ability to move Lowry for a first-round pick, which obviously is not helping you at all this year, unless you believe that more minutes for those other guys makes you improve. Well, if you trade him for whoever first-round pick is, and actually with this franchise, I don't even think it matters that much where the pick is because they've proven, Pascal Siakam, that they can find value at all places of the draft. If that next year improves your percent chance to get to the finals to 24% and to win it, and it's 12. And the year after that, it improves your opportunity to get to the finals to 33.333% and to win it 15 or 16 or 17. Well, that's something that I think you have to, if you're being diligent, discuss.
That's what I mean. That's all I'm talking about here is that I wonder what the Raptors' internal conversations are like right now centering the future of Kyle Lowry with the organization. I bet they're done very under lock and key, and that it's only Masai Ujiri maybe talking about it with Bobby Webster. It's probably a very small circle. But I don't think he's watching this and not at least having the idea percolate somewhere in his head. He'd never admit it to you. You wouldn't be able to torture him to get it to tell him to you. Not the way that he and Kyle Lowry are right now and what Kyle Lowry means to this franchise as a whole. But I find it hard to believe that Masai Ujiri wouldn't be looking at these three guys the way that they've all played with him out and saying to himself, maybe more of these guys is better, not just in the interim, but also in the future.
It's interesting nexus that you have as he allows them as champions the right to start the year and dictate their own future. And so you kind of go on this crescendo of, man, well, if they're terrible, fine. Let's sell off the pieces. Let's reset. Oh, they're pretty good. Well, let's let it ride and let's see what this team can do.
It's a tricky team.
What's that or lose? But then you get to the point where, oh, wait, we're really good. And so maybe we can absorb moving some of these veteran guys and bringing in some pick capital in the future, or even just younger players, friendlier contracts for this team. You don't have to trade them for picks per se, in order to be really, really, really good in a year or two, because maybe we're not as far as we thought we'd be.
All I know is right now I'm watching Fred VanVleet, and he looks like a starting point guard to me. And I've said this on Good Show. I don't think I've said it on here, but the best way for me to describe Fred VanVleet is he's a winner. I just feel confident when Fred VanVleet is on the floor, and I just feel like the team is going to win when he's out there, and that he's going to make the right plays, whether they're on defense or whether they're on offense. And exploring more of him is becoming something I'm a little bit more interested in. And the second half of this experiment is going to be, what does Lowry look like when he comes back? What does the team look like when he comes back? What does the ceiling look like? Because if you start elevating off of that 12%, I don't think there's any discussion for moving Kyle Lowry. It's something that's fluid. Something that is not fluid, something that is just a guarantee, is that you will enjoy Sportsnet's Raptors newsletter. You subscribe to it, you get it, you're going to be a happy person. You're going to be a happy little camper is what you're going to be. You're going to put on your little camper hat, and you're going to read the Raptors newsletter, and you're going to be happy as a clam. It's new this year. It's weekly. It's done by editor Stephen Lung. It's original content. It's original opinion. And you never have to read anything about happy campers or happy clams.
What's a camper hat? Like a specific hat you wear when you camp?
It's like a bucket cap, I would say, but bigger.
Isn't that a fishing hat?
Yeah. It's a fishing camping hat. But you would wear that camping, the big thing, the string underneath that doesn't really fit, but you can tighten it up. That would be
Nick Saban?
Yeah, exactly. The Nick Saban. When you picture camping hat, what do you picture?
I don't know what a camping hat is.
You picture a ball cap, like a dusty old ball cap that you save? Do you have ball caps or clothing that you save that you still think are kind of cool, but not cool enough that you could wear them in public, but they would be like camping chic? I think it's a Canadian thing that I do, or maybe it's just what I do.
No,
I do that. I keep like old sweaters where I say this look fire at the cottage.
I don't think the term or phrase
camping chic
has ever crossed my mind.
Like whatsoever. You don't want to look like you're wearing too nice of clothes.
I think those two words are in direct conflict.
That's what I'm saying.
Camping and chic.
You don't want to wear your nice clothes to a cottage or to a cabin or to camping, because then you look like a douche. Like, fact. You look way out of your element. You look unprepared. You're not wearing your new fits to go camping. You're showing off. Who are you showing off for? Why are you even doing this? But
maybe you take pride in your appearance.
Hey, here's all you should care about when you go camping in cottage: comfort. Your comfort. This is a vacation. It's relaxation.
I mean, I don't think those things are in conflict. Comfort and pride in your appearance.
Okay.
Get yourself some nice athleisure.
But that's what I'm saying.
Be comfortable and look good all the time.
I'm just trying to live the best of both worlds, where I'm saying I keep clothes stored away that are specifically for camping trips and cottage events that I do not actually have planned. They're just there. And I know if I ever go, I'm going to go to that area like an old hat. I can already picture the hat in my brain that I have that I would wear to the cottage, but I would never wear out in any other scenario. But I think it's cool at a cottage.
Like the hat says Muskoka on it?
It actually might say Muskoka on it. It might actually have a fish and say Muskoka. Either way, I'm not that basic. It might be something else. You don't know.
Why are clams happy? Like, what do you mean happy as a clam?
I think
like,
it's because
why are oysters happy?
Well, because they have no feelings and they're complete idiots. And so that's the thing, is like ignorance is bliss. You're happy as a clam because you're so dumb you can't feel anything. You're just a dumb clam.
So oysters do have feelings? Like
someday an
oysters
oyster
are
like a
good,
classy clam to me.
And then an oyster one day is like, man, I'm having a rough day.
oysters.
What about octopus?
Listen, if mo money, mo problems, then oysters are not as happy as clams. Because oysters are the classy clam of the sea, where they have a pearl.
And we know this how? Like we've done studies on
I already told you, I'm not Mr.
the mental
Book.
fortitude of
Do you know how I'm basing
clams?
this off of? Cartoons. Like cartoons, I've seen cartoons where it's an oyster and there's a big pearl and the guy goes and tries to steal the oyster's pearl. I've seen clams in dirty water. You step on them, you're like, clams. Or out east, they feed them to you.
I wonder, like, we have these sayings and then people just say them and don't really analyze what it is that they're saying.
I just did analyze it.
No,
you're too dumb.
No,
Clam.
Okay.
Not
sure.
you're too dumb, clam.
Like, shouldn't it be like happy as a dolphin? Like dolphins, we know are happy.
No, dolphins get sad. They mourn their dead. They're really smart. They're really, really smart. They're not happy. They're depressed. They know what's going on.
You can be happy and smart.
No, dude, the dolphins that we have, not to get preachy here, but we can't keep those things in captivity. Like, it's really bad. We shouldn't do that. Like, they're too smart. They're sad. Dolphins are too smart. The smarter you are, the sadder you are. That's my belief.
The smarter you are, the sadder.
Yeah, because you know too much. You get more information, and the more you learn, the sadder you are. Because nothing's good.
Or
that's why sports are good. Because it's just for dummies like me. Like, watch a ball go through the hoop. I'm like, yep.
Or the
I
more
can do that.
The more you learn, the more you appreciate the good things.
Sometimes
so the more grateful you are.
But then you realize those things are fleeting, and then you're sad again.
I don't think that's true.
All right. What's true about this? The Raptors should or should not have given championship rings to Jonas Valanciunas, DeLon Wright, and CJ Miles.
Listen, Kyle Lowry asked Jonas Valanciunas for his ring size.
That's tough. That's a Kyle problem to me if I'm MLSE.
Didn't Kyle design the ring?
I'm not aware. There's a picture of it over there.
He did.
Kyle designed that?
So here are the potential pros and cons. Mm-hmm. Potential pros. You take care of guys who are good to you. You show them how much you appreciate them and how much they are part of the building blocks of getting you to a championship. And you send a message to the rest of the league that when we put family up in the locker room, when we have these tiles of everyone's photo in black and white with them and their kids, that we really mean it. And it's a cold, cold business. But in areas where we can still be family, we're going to. And we're going to honor that. And so just as when you're traded, they have to chisel that little photo out of the locker room, which must be super awkward. Mm-hmm. In some ways, we can act like adults, continue to be family, and say, listen, you didn't have the champagne shower. You weren't there with us partying in Oakland, but your contribution is meaningful. This ring, which we've given literally 500 people who work for MLSE, this is yours. And so if we're going to give, God love him, the super fan a ring for what he means and what he signifies.
Be careful now.
And we're going to give Drizzy Drake a ring
tread lightly
for what
now.
he means and what he signifies. The least we can do is give the big science, Jonas Valanciunas, a ring. That is the net positive. So what I don't understand is what the potential net negative is. Like, what's the downside in giving them a ring?
So let me actually start by saying this, and I'm not even lying. I truly believe this. I think Nav Bhatia and Drake both had more of an impact on the Raptors winning a championship than CJ Miles. Like, those guys are more deserving than CJ Miles. That's what I choose to believe, okay? I think he was a throw-in in that deal. They had to take him to make the money line up. Memphis didn't want CJ Miles. Is CJ Miles still in Memphis? Where is CJ Miles?
CJ Miles played in games with which they won.
And Drake was on the sideline yelling at guys,
to
getting
them
in their heads.
Having the best record in the league, which gave them home court advantage. So he literally contributed to them winning a championship.
So did Nav. And do you not believe in the butterfly effect? Nav Bhatia, here's the fact I know about Nav Bhatia. At every single Raptors playoff game. Here's something I don't know. If he wasn't there, are the results the same? Who knows? Butterfly
Michael
effect.
Grange
That's
was
what we
at
learned.
every single Raptors playoff game. Does he deserve a ring too?
More than CJ Miles. I'm just saying, more than CJ Miles. I know what you're saying, and here's my real take. I don't care. Had they given them a ring, I would have said, that's cool, fine, take your ring. Had they not, I look at it the same way, where Bobby Webster came out and said, we did our homework. We looked around the league. It's only been one time the Warriors gave Anderson Varejao a ring, and we just didn't feel like that was necessary.
But is this a did our homework scenario? Is this
but
something you need to
Nerdy Bobby Webster was out there doing the homework. Masai gave him one chore.
I know he did. But is this something that you need to canvass the rest of the executives? Hey, what did you do in your situation?
Well, you're the Mr.
Sports?
Research. You're the one who's always advocating on this show. Do your research.
But this is not about research. It's about relationships. In the relationship that you had, past tense, but more importantly,
you think
the relationship you want to have in the future.
So someone's not going to sign with the Raptors because they're like, what if you trade me and I don't get a ring?
That's not going to happen. But the point is, this was an opportunity to put your flag in the ground and saying, this is how we are different. This is what we stand for as an organization. And they've done that in so many other ways. And to me, this was just a small one. This was like the amount that these 3 rings was going to cost them is a rounding error for MLSE. So to me, to not do it is making more of a statement than to do it.
You know what's a statement to me? How much you care about this. I can't believe it. Like, I never knew anyone would have the passion for whether millionaires would also get $150,000 worth of rings. That, like, what's Jonas Valanciunas going to do with that ring? What's DeLon Wright going to do with that ring? You know what they're going to do?
That's up to them.
Yeah. You know what they're going to do? They're going to put it on eBay. They're going to put it in a box somewhere. Why would you want to be reminded of you getting traded off a championship team? What significance could that possibly be to you? You know what probably means more to Jonas Valanciunas than that championship ring? Was the Raptors taking a shot on him and drafting him where they did, letting him stay in Europe for a year, letting him come over here and having Lithuania night, giving him contracts. Those things matter.
Those things are not mutually exclusive. They've already done those things.
Yeah. I don't, if I'm wrong, if this hurts Jonas Valanciunas in any way, let me just say this to you, JV. I wish you got a ring, big fella.
Well, he already said that he thought it would be cool that he would like to get a ring. He said that this summer.
I would want $50,000 too, okay? I would also want $50,000 no matter what, how rich I was. So yes, it would be cool. I just think MLSE, this is one of those things where, to me, people will be mad about everything. Like, those guys are generationally wealthy now. And they, in part, it's because they played for the Raptors and got money. CJ Miles got a big free agent contract from the Raptors. That was their gift to you, CJ, was overpaying you in the market. Actually, wait, he didn't get a contract from the Raptors, did he? They traded for the Pacers and got him. I forget how that works. Either way.
CJ...
I think they traded Corey Joseph for him, and then they picked up his option, was what happened there. Maybe they gave him an extension. I can't remember. This is a lot of maybes and I can't remembers on this podcast today. But, yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know how it could be a negative effect on your actual franchise. I think it's a bit of a bad PR. Yeah, they could have done it. It's not my money, so just do it. But I want to know what JV was going to wear his ring to dinner. He's going to be like tapping the table with his big old ring. They're like, "Where's that from, sir?" He's like, "Well, let me tell you the story about when I was traded from Marc Gasol."
Maybe that's JV's prerogative. Yes. The point is, you can't act like, hey, it's only the people who were on the floor in Oakland in Game 6. This ring is a sacred thing when you gave it to a fan of the team and you gave it to the global ambassador.
Not just any fan, okay? Stop putting Nav Bhatia in the box of just the guy who bought a 300 ticket. Like, no.
No. Listen, I love Nav Bhatia.
I mean, you don't sound like it. You sound like Nav Bhatia, who went to City Hall and said, stop bothering Kawhi.
Who's done more Nav Bhatia features than me? I've cornered the market on Nav Bhatia. I love him like
next
his
feature,
family.
You'll come to me, the guy who wants you to keep your ring.
And I think
never forget Nav.
No. I think he should have a ring.
Okay.
And I think Drake should have a ring, to be clear. But if they have rings, if we agree on that premise that people who weren't on the floor can contribute to a championship, then we also should agree on the premise that Jonas Valanciunas helped, and he should also have a ring. It's deductive reasoning.
I really would love to start a ad campaign of, Raptors gave CJ Miles $25 million. Mom will just text that to me. Yeah, $25 million. No big deal. There's 25. Oh, sorry. Sorry we didn't give you that $50,000 ring that reminded you that we didn't want you anymore. How about the $25 million that we gave you, CJ Miles, and all the opportunity to run with the bench mob and shoot all those threes and be loved here? Oh, and also the GoDaddy ad that you got. Where's the GoDaddy money? Okay. Refund the GoDaddy money when you went to Memphis then.
It's not like he was just walking on the street and they said, hey, come inside. Here's a jersey. Here's $25 million. He's an NBA player. He earned that money.
If I was doing a ad campaign against you, I'd be like, Donnovan Bennett doesn't want Nav Badia to have a championship ring. And I'd have you be like, Nav Badia gets a championship ring.
Fake news.
Donnovan Bennett doesn't even want Drake to have a championship ring. And then I'd roll the audio of you saying, and even Drake got a championship ring. Can we do that? Let's make a video of those. You know what we do get videos of? NBA chat room. It's great. I really enjoy it. You guys do a great job.
Thank
you. You and Faisal Kamisa. You can subscribe to it on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. You guys tweet it out whenever you guys do it. It's an interactive show, and it's also something that you should talk about, not me, because it's your show.
Yeah, if you subscribe to Sportsnet on YouTube, you will get alerts for when chat room is. You will also get this very podcast in a playlist, which you can literally watch if you want. You don't have to just listen to us. You can watch us argue with each other. So that's a reason in itself to subscribe to Sportsnet's channel. But yeah, chat room has been very, very fun. Coming up this week, I will be at the Grey Cup, so I won't be on the show. But you should watch anyways.
I like pouring one out.
Oh, nice.
It's good.
Pour one out for JV. Should have got a ring.
You should have got a ring. Man, Grey Cup. Hamilton and Saskatchewan.
No.
Hamilton and Winnipeg.
Correct.
I knew it was one of those teams.
Well, they were.
Here's the thing: there's only 5, so it's not hard to pick from them. I'm a huge Tabbies guy. I'm a big Brandon Banks fan. Okay. I'll be rooting for the Tabbies. Oski Weavy.
Name another player.
Can't do it. Can't even name the quarterback. They play against
Dane Evans.
Who?
Dane Evans.
That's a guy. Dane Evans?
Correct, yeah.
No, that's not a guy. CFL has the same 8 quarterbacks. They just trade teams. Like, are you sure we don't have Zach Collaros?
He's starting for Winnipeg.
Of course he is. See? Of course. Because it's just the merry-go-round. That's why when dudes retire, it's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do in the CFL?
Well, Zach Collaros was almost out of football because he had so many concussions and was traded to Winnipeg on the deadline, and now he's led them to a Grey Cup.
Here's the thing. I actually wish I got to watch more CFL. I'm just a huge NFL fan. It's really hard for me to fit into the schedule the same way. I do go to Argos games in the city. I love it. I tell people all the time that it's a way better experience than people make it out to be. It genuinely is a great venue to watch football, and tickets are pretty cheap. And now I sound like I'm selling it to everybody, but one of my favorite things I've ever done is go to the Grey Cup when it was here in Toronto. I went to the one where Henry Burris walked it off. That was his final one, and he won. And it was one of the best times I've ever had. They have the huge party right before the game. Everybody goes and gets a little liquored up, and then they go to the game, and it's fans from every team. It's just cool atmosphere. I'm jealous of you that you get to go. Where is it?
Calgary.
Oh, that must be awesome,
That'll be a good one. Yeah.
That will be really good.
It's in Hamilton next year, so you can just get on the QEW.
Will you
Grey Cup it up?
Will you let me come with you to the Grey Cup? Will you invite me in Hamilton? Because you're in the know in the CFL crowd.
Come with me.
Yeah.
You don't know where the GO train stop is?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to go on the GO train stop. I want to go with you. I want to know what the
game or to the week.
Yeah, whatever, whichever you want to do.
Well, I mean, if you
bring me to.
You're a member of the media. If you have a credential, you'll be able to go into Tim Hortons Field like anybody else.
Yeah, but I want to go with the hot girl to the party. Like that's you. You're the hot girl. Everybody knows you there. You
at the Grey Cup?
Yeah. Oh no, the guy who was stud running back in Canadian college football, who has covered the CFL for over a decade, who does a podcast about the CFL, who knows everybody involved with the entire league. No, nobody knows you there, I'm sure. You go there and people are like, who's this guy? Just a random guy? Yeah, move along. Random guy, get out of the way.
Everyone knows Arash Madani at the Grey Cup.
Yeah, of course they do. And then you. That's the power rankings at Sportsnet. Arash, Donnovan.
In terms of CFL coverage.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I wanted from you. So will you or will you not go to Grey Cup with me next year? I'm asking you out to the Grey Cup in Hamilton.
I'm just hoping I'm alive next year.
We'll shoot a little video.
Nothing's promised.
Nothing. That's real harsh. You're like, I'd rather die, basically, is what you said. You're like, of all the scenarios you'd rather do, you're like, I could be dead. And that would be sweet. I would rather do that than go to the Grey Cup with you.
Live every day like it's your last. YOLO.
You had a great tweet the other day, and I just want to discuss it quickly before we wrap up here. I don't know. Where'd you come up with this? Just explain it.
I don't know. My brain? I don't know.
No, I know. There was no inspiration for this? It was just Carmelo signing?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
And Andre Iguodala I mean, he's an NBA player, but he's at home waiting for someone else to trade for him.
I hate that, by the way. Can I just say that I hate that?
Why? You just made an argument that Kyle Lowry maybe should be moved aside.
I just don't think that it's cool that this guy who gets traded to a team just decided right away, like, I don't want to play for this team. They're not good enough for me.
But they also don't want him.
Why not? Why wouldn't they want Iggy around?
Because they have young guys that they want to develop.
But I'm not saying you even have to play him.
They just want him as an asset to flip him for something else. They're just a landing place. Anyways,
doesn't feel right by me. Andre Iguodala or Carmelo Anthony, whose career would you rather have? Andre Iguodala has been a Finals MVP in a year where, I mean, it's the most fraudulent Finals MVP of all time. Let's not lie, but it's there. It still exists. He won a Finals MVP against LeBron. He's a 3-time NBA champion. He's also a guy who has been the go-to guy on basketball teams before, right? Like, there was a moment with the Sixers when they were transitioning out of AI where they thought it was going to be his team. There was a moment in Denver where they thought it was going to be his team. It turned out that he's just one of the ultimate glue guys. He's an NBA sixth man. He is just one of those guys, a consummate winner who is one of the league's best athletes. He's been paid just about everywhere he goes, including now in Memphis, where he doesn't even need to play to get paid. Or Melo, who, last I checked, has gone to a Western Conference Finals, won one series in New York, went to the playoffs once in New York, maybe twice. I'm forgetting if he went twice. And then is, I guess, was Melo even ever a scoring champion?
I'm not sure.
I don't think he was.
I feel like he must have been at some point in Denver.
I should have done this research, but I only thought about doing this question today. Who would you rather be, Carmelo or Iggy?
I don't know, which is why I asked the question.
That's why it's such a brilliant question.
Torn. I mean, Carmelo, as people, make fun of Hoodie Melo and, hey,
I don't. I respect Hoodie Melo.
Hey, P, they say I'm going to have to come off the bench, and the next thing you know, he's out of the league. But he also, we got to remember, he was the one-and-done guy. Like, this whole era of one-and-done, go to college as a finishing school, leave. Melo was the first guy to really do it big and win a championship when he could have gone straight to league.
I should have said that. That counts. He won an NCAA championship. That's not nothing.
And was the best player in the country as a freshman. Also, the most decorated international basketball player ever.
He won the scoring title 1 year in 2013.
There you go. Olympic Melo is really a thing. He's played his best basketball for the U.S. internationally and has more international medals than anybody else. But his NBA legacy is an awkward one. In an era where the game changed that really should have given him some longevity, he refused to change. And also, every team that he left immediately got better, which is tough. And then Iguodala.
Did the Knicks get better? I missed that memo. The Knicks look pretty bad.
Well, they're bad. They're bad now, but actually, right after he left, they did get better. Here's the other thing, though, that people are going to hate on this part of the argument. Carmelo made just under $250 million in the NBA.
What did he make?
He made $166 in 16 seasons, which is not bad.
Yeah.
But it's still almost $100 million more.
How many millions do you think Melo would sacrifice for a ring, given like where he's at right now in his career? Like when he looks back on it?
Zero.
I think it's zero? I think he'd give up $1 million for a ring.
I mean, listen,
like a real ring, like a I'm Carmelo Anthony, I was the best player on the team ring, or I got a Finals MVP. Like, let me ask you that: Carmelo gets Finals MVP and a ring. You don't think he's giving up $1 million?
Okay, I'll answer the question like this: if you've won a championship, there's millions to be made off of that.
Yeah.
So, like any financial advisor, I would advise him: you give up 5, you make 50. So in that sense, yes, he would give up millions to win a championship. But if you actually had the money in hand, $1 million in a briefcase, and you had to hand it over for this ring that you're just going to put in your office or put in a safety deposit box.
Oh, like the JV one. Yeah, anyway.
That's a lot tougher of a proposition.
Yeah. I think Carmelo Anthony, there's a real big, hefty price on what he would have given up without all that ancillary stuff.
But wait. If that's the case, why didn't he just sacrifice? Why didn't he just say, I'm going to come off the bench, or I'm going to be a stretch 4?
Because hindsight is 20/20.
I'm going to get in a defensive stance and try to guard somebody.
Because, man, I think in the moment he wanted to have it all. He wanted to be the guy. He thought, I bet you think Melo, you ever met him, you would have come across him, genuinely would have strapped him down into the lie detector test and said, hey, do you think that the way you're playing is good enough to win? He would have been like, of course. I'm getting 28 a game. I'm the best player on the team. It's not me. It's some of the other guys. And I think that was his problem throughout a lot of his career, is that he didn't sacrifice because he didn't think he had to. He thought he was good enough to not do it. And this is what I'll say about Carmelo Anthony. I would rather be Melo, not because of the money. Because I'm greedy and this is how I play basketball and I'm just true to myself. When I play ball, I loved scoring as many points as I did winning games. I'm saying this is just about me. I would want to be the guy who could score 28 a night. I just think that's cool. I think averaging that.
So you'd rather score 28 in a loss or 8 in a win?
Yeah, I'd rather be Mike James and have had his one season with the Raptors than Jordan Lloyd on the bench, celebrating the one play. And I know they're very different. I'm just saying, dude, Carmelo Anthony, these are his point totals through his career. Comes in at 19 years old, 21, 21, 27, 29, 26, 22, 28, 25, 29, 22.6, 27, 24, 12. That's what I want to be. Give me the guaranteed bucket guy every single night. When I think back about the NBA, I'm not going to think back on Andre Iguodala. I'm just not going to do it. I don't care how many rings he won. I don't care about that Finals MVP. I already think back about that Finals MVP, and all I believe is I cannot believe the writers gave that to him in the moment where they had this huge brain fart, where LeBron James carried a bunch of corpses to not just 4-game loss to one of the greatest teams of all time, and played the best we've ever seen LeBron James play. And they were like, Andre Iguodala only gave up 30 points to LeBron James, you guys. He should be MVP, right? LeBron didn't have 100 points, so I guess this is the guy. Remember the other argument, too, which was, well, it's called the Bill Russell Award because Bill Russell won. It's not called the Jerry West Award. So I just think his Finals MVP to me is the biggest joke MVP ever. He's one of the guys of the greatest team of all time, but he's the last guy you think of when it comes to that starting 5, when it comes to the Hampton 5. And Melo was awesome. People look back at Melo like he sucked and that he was no fun to watch. Melo was so fun to watch. Melo on the block, kick it to him, and just know the guy that was guarding him was just dead meat. That's awesome to me. I loved Melo. The day when he came to New York.
What value is that if you lose by 20?
I don't care. I got my 28. That's what I'm saying. I would have wanted that. I know that says something about me, but I'm selfish. Now, maybe I'm not a team player.
I see. I was torn on this, and hearing you talk about it now makes me want to have Iguodala's career. Good. In fact, because here's the thing, and Melo could have won, but here's the thing: he didn't want to. For him, the door is locked. Can we open the door for friggin' Tim McAuliffe, please?
I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, I am holding on. I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Melo could have won. Come in, Tim.
Come in here.
Can't lock the door.
And thank you. Use your.
Tell me to come in.
I didn't lock the door.
No one gets up.
The door locks itself. Right. Melo could have won, but he'd rather be traded rather than go to New York as a free agent. He wanted to be traded. So the team he got to wasn't very good because he didn't care about winning. He just cared about himself.
And I love that.
Of course you do.
That's what I'm saying. But who would you rather be?
Arguing right now?
Whose career would you rather have? Carmelo Anthony or Andre Iguodala?
I would rather. Well, hold on. Are we talking about pro career?
Yeah. Well, everything. No, you get the
Syracuse.
Syracuse counts. Olympics count. Whose basketball life would you rather have? And Carmelo made
easy 25
over
a night.
$80 million more than Iguodala.
And an easy 25. When Tim McAuliffe closes his eyes and he thinks about the NBA in the mid to 2000s to 2015, who are you going to remember? Andre Iguodala or the easy 25 Melo got every night?
Andre Iguodala, when he is in a rocking chair, is going to remember the time when he was on the stage with his son and confetti was coming down. He's going to be still in a text group with the guys he won a championship with.
So he's not going to be able to. He'll remember his Syracuse team where he was the best guy and he won. He won. You
barely remember that Syracuse team. I had to remind you.
He's a freshman.
Who else was on that team? Do you remember?
What else I'll remember?
You don't.
Easy 25
Tell
every
me
night.
the Hakeem Warwick moments that you loved. Exactly. You don't even remember that team.
No, because all I remember is Melo. I was in grade 11.
Scoop Jardine on that team?
I don't think he was.
No.
I think Jerry McNamara was on the team. Who would you rather be?
If I could settle this argument, I would say, whose career would I rather have?
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
Don't celebrate yet. Whose career do I respect more? Andre Iguodala's. If you were going to give me the extra money, I'm taking that. I understand. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, so I'm not going to act like I'm going to give that up in some.
That's like the yacht from Succession money.
Yeah, that's. I mean, when people 80 million, you said.
Yeah.
80 million is the difference.
Yeah.
So that is 80 nice condos, and I could name off 80 lovely spots Cancun, Mexico, Turks and Caicos. I would go to Bali, something like that. You know what I mean? That's a lot of nice places. Yeah. However, I respect Andre Iguodala's career more than I respect Carmelo Anthony's career, because Andre Iguodala looked at a situation and said, I might not be able to do it on my own, but I can damn sure help other people do it and have team success. And that, to me, is more a man than the guy saying, I can score 25 easy.
Yeah, and guess what? I acknowledge I am less of a man. And I want those easy 25 and the 80 million, baby, and those condos around the globe. Hook it up.
Iguodala also made 166.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's poor. It's not like he's hurting.
No, he's not. Yeah. He's still living a good life.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And he's a better golfer. That factors in.
Is this on video with my fat head leaning in like this?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's a preview monitor.
Yeah, it's over there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we could do like the old prank shows, and there's a camera there, there's a camera here, and there's a camera there.
Would you like to promote something since we've accosted you?
People don't know who you are. Hey, so let us know who you are and what it is you do.
I like doing this. I'd like to do it more often, where I just jump in and settle arguments. So if you need me at any time, please let me know.
No problem.
And this is a wonderful argument, because I don't agree with either of you.
You're nice. Lock the door on the way out.
Would you give JB a ring?
Yeah, that's the next one. That's the next debate. All right, that's a good wrap. That's a good place to finish.
Later.
See you, Tim. See you, audience. Thanks to the associates. Subscribe, review, share the tweet, share it on Instagram. Do whatever it is you do. Tell a friend. We appreciate it. See you next week.